The Akatsuki are one of the most iconic groups in all of Naruto and just anime in general, being filled with some of the strongest rogue ninjas in the history of the Naruto world. Some of them were literal Kage killers, and others, they took down entire nations just using their own raw power. Yet, as is often the case with a lot of things in the Naruto world, nothing is ever quite what it seems to be, and the Akatsuki, they're no different. Something that Sasuke Uchiha learned while on his redemption journey during what fans like to refer to as being the blank period. Join me in today's newest edition of After Naruto Shippuden over here on Naruto Explained, where we take a look at how Sasuke Uchiha discovered the true origins of the Akatsuki all the way back during the origins of the group in the Rain Village, as well as some of the deeper secrets of the members, as we know, being the antagonists from the Naruto manga, and what Sasuke's true thoughts were on them once he got all the information. For those of you guys who are new to the channel, After Naruto Shippuden is a series here on the channel where we take a look at series and stories and events that occurred between Naruto chapter 699 to chapter 700. With the latter being the start of the Boruto era, and is commonly referred to fans as being that blank period, that 10+ year period that we never saw animated. Some of these stories did get small adaptations in Naruto Shippuden, but a lot of them were never given anime adaptations, and the ones that did took some serious liberties with the stories, hence the playlist is called After Naruto Shippuden. The information from this video is going to be coming to us via the epilogue story, Akatsuki Hiden, Evil Flowers in Full Bloom, which is set towards the end of Sasuke's redemption journey, well after Naruto has married Hinata. And we have an older and wiser Sasuke finding himself reflecting as he's making his way back to Konoha. Along the way, after meeting the family of two brothers who Itachi and Kisame killed during their time in the Akatsuki, Sasuke takes one final detour on his return to Konoha, deciding to look into what led to Itachi killing the family of these two brothers, but he eventually finds himself researching the Akatsuki as a whole, once again traveling the ninja world, to see if any of them could have been redeemed like he was if they had a Naruto or Sakura in their corner waiting on them to hopefully find their ways back onto the honorable path. In the scene we're going to be taking a look at, Sasuke has taken a break from his investigation and has begun reflecting on the information he's gathered about the group, and his entire perspective on the Akatsuki, it has shifted, and you can see how much of Naruto's influence, as well as Sasuke being several years removed from the Fourth Ninja War, where he was once consumed by raw hatred. You can see how much his entire mind state has changed. Gone is the Sasuke who once viewed the Akatsuki as this group of dishonorable shinobi who were associates of his brother Itachi, which made them fair game to be hunted down and killed if it meant that he could get the information that could lead to tracking Itachi. Also, he can carry out his revenge. The Sasuke before us now is one who is inching closer and closer towards the one that we see in the Boruto era, with his reasoning and his emotional intelligence, and most importantly, his patience. With the scene and the context being set is here, I'm going to begin reading through the selected scene from the story, and then I'll come back to you guys my thoughts, and it's here I'm going to begin reading the rather quick quote. So, as Sasuke rested, reflecting on what was almost a decade, he mused how the Akatsuki originally started as something good, but like many things in the shinobi world, what was once good, it eventually got corrupted into something evil. He thought about the two brothers, Komitsu and Omitsu, and their deceased brother Kodaka, who Itachi and Kisame had killed. However, the Akatsuki started out, whatever it is they became, their names, they would never die in history. In the end, it was all the same for each of them. Even if the world couldn't see it, the Akatsuki, they had family too. The Akatsuki, they had comrades too. The Akatsuki, they had people they loved too. They too were shinobi, once loyal to their villages and then loyal to their ideologies and their cause as an organization. However, he now understood the Akatsuki, they were no different than the rest of them. They too were human. End quote. While that scene in of itself is short, as we often see with Sasuke, he isn't a man of too many words, often saying just enough in a blunt manner that gets straight to the point. However, the reason this should stand out to you is that Sasuke is coming to the conclusion that he was wrong about the Akatsuki, and so too is history ultimately wrong about the group. They started out for noble reasons, wanting to bring about change to the Rain Village, something that Sasuke has learned But after learning the true history of the group, Sasuke knows what caused the organization that was once a banner for many people to stand up in defense of their homeland to fight for a better cause, to become a small network of rogue shinobi, each of them with their own individual and often less than honorable ambitions, to band together to work on such an evil mission that they had. They too, like Sasuke once was, they were a product of a broken cycle of the shinobi system itself. As Sasuke said, their names will never die, but it was for all the wrong reasons. No one will ever talk about how the group started in an honorable way. It won't even be a footnote in history. The only asterisk that we have is Itachi, who we know at this point in the timeline, Naruto had begun telling people that had it not been for Itachi, the war could have ended up in a much worse way. And even then, Naruto could not go into full detail because of obviously the Uchiha massacre. The Akatsuki, they will only be known for the mercenary work that they carried out as they built up the funds and the assets to eventually begin hunting down the Bijus sealed inside a Jinchuriki. 6 innocent Jinchuriki were each murdered by the Akatsuki. They would be remembered for the 4th Great Ninja War, which started out as a war against the Akatsuki itself. Yet Sasuke, through his investigation, learned that there was even more. The line about the Akatsuki family too, it wasn't just about Itachi. It was a line that Sasuke learned carried multiple meanings. It was about the regrets that Konan had at not being able to start a family that she and Yahiko spoke about, when in an ideal world they would have changed the Rain Village. How Konan thought of herself as a fertile flower that never got the chance to blossom. Very heartbreaking. It referred to how even amongst the massacre of a village, Hidan somehow, through his own twisted methods, found himself bonding with someone who he was teaching the way of Jashin to, which you can all probably guess how that turned out. It was as shocking of a moment as how Deidara and Sasori, despite all their constant bickering, ended up sharing a twisted brotherhood that went beyond their love, albeit different opinions on it, when it came to art. The line about the Akatsuki had loved ones too, and that they loved too, it was more than just Itachi's love for his younger brother. It was also a line about Obito and Konan. Obito heard a vulnerable moment with Konan. Konan's romantic feelings for Yahiko, the love for the family she never got to share with them. Her love for Nagato, knowing that he was being used by Obito and Zetsu, just as Yahiko was initially suspicious before he died, but being unable to leave the Akatsuki like she had previously thought of doing because she feared Obito and Zetsu would be able to further manipulate and gaslight Nagato, further preventing him from turning the Akatsuki into what they originally planned. The Akatsuki, as they originally came up with it, it was perverted in name. It had strayed too far from what they envisioned. It was also about Obito's love for Rin. And hearing how Konan openly voiced her regrets subconsciously, it stirred something inside of Obito, causing him to put logic aside, which logic told him that Konan was too dangerous to be left alive, and it made sense to kill her off while she was out alone on her mission, looking into the whereabouts of the Jinchuriki that she was assigned during the 2.5-year Naruto time skip. It would have been really easy for Obito to do what Zetsu was advising, stepping in after Konan was both physically and mentally tired from having fought a genjutsu specialist while she was doing her investigation, having walked into a trap. Yet Obito, he still refused, sharing the same regrets when it came to Rin that Konan had when it came to Yahiko, a decision that would ultimately prove Zetsu's warning correct, that letting Konan live, it would cause a problem for their cause. It was a reflection on how Itachi was beginning to doubt whether or not he made the right decision with the Uchiha massacre, whether or not Shisui would approve of him joining the Akatsuki, or even sending Sasuke down a path of hatred, saying to himself that his younger brother was far too kind of a soul to endure what he was doing without being affected by it or even potentially manipulated, which ended up being true in a way that Itachi had not anticipated for Sasuke. The line that they two were shinobi was both a reflection of their past lives when they were in ninja villages, as well as them having to carry the burden that came from being rogue ninjas and hunted down by shinobi they once called comrades. as was the case with Kisame, who we learned, due to the prep time that the Anbu tracking him had, and Kisame's own arrogance, playing around with shinobi weaker than him, it almost resulted in Kisame getting himself killed via a combination of poison and lightning release had it not been for Itachi stepping in to save him, which in turn made Kisame set aside his own growing suspicions at the time that Itachi wasn't truly working for the Akatsuki. For Sasuke to reach the conclusion that the Akatsuki, they too were human, it just further cements how much he's grown in the years since the 4th Ninja War. The fact that he even took time to learn even better the truth about the organization that he once wore the robes of and ended up humanizing them, it speaks volumes to the growth that he had. In the end, Sasuke's belief, it was pretty straightforward, even though he doesn't come out directly and say it, which is that in the end, because the Akatsuki were humans, shinobi that were failed by the shinobi system, they too could have been redeemed if they were given the support from those who had unwavering faith in them, the way that Sasuke had it from Naruto and Sakura. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and checking out more videos from the After Naruto Shippuden playlist by clicking here on the left or clicking here on the right to watch this video from my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content in the form of video essays, explained videos, chapter reviews, and so much more.